Good morning, Grandma Diane here. It's time for Grandma Diane's story time. We have one more book in, or I have, I should say one more book, I don't know how many are, that are from Jory, John, and Pete Oswald. This one is called The Cool Bean. If you remember, yesterday we read The Bad Seed. And on Friday, we read The Good Egg. Kind of interesting when you read a series of them to kind of look at how they're the same and how they're different. So that might be something you want to keep in mind as we look at the Cool Bean story today. How is this one the same as The Good Egg or The Bad Seed, and how is it different from those books? So we might talk about that a little bit later. The Cool Bean from Jory, John, and Pete Oswald. And here we see the Cool Bean. He's kind of cute. And of course, they do such nice end pages. Look at that. How fun. Cool Bean, and they all have their shades on. And this book is published by HarperCollins Publishers. The Cool Bean. Written by Diane and illustration by Oswald. And our story starts at Bean's Elementary School, home of the Pods. Watch out, here come the cool beans. The cool beans. They think they're cool, don't they? But it looks like everybody else does too. Oh yeah. Check out how they move. Look at the way they swagger. Notice their sunglasses. Yow! The cool known all over school, from house to house, across town, and beyond county lines. Oh, they are well known, huh? In the olden days, last year, one big pot of beans, mixed bag, but somehow it worked. Yep, those were the good old days. And then we stopped seeing each other as much. That's just how it is sometimes. You spend less time together, even though you're not totally sure why. And here's our little guy, and he's just kind of giving a sigh, but watching them play. All the same. I watched as the beans I knew so well, the beans from my own pod, became the cool beans. Oh, they're so cool. One of them could play the guitar. One of them could draw the best superheroes. Cool. And one of them could jump higher than any bean I've ever known. Cool. Me? Well, mostly I stayed the same. Sure, I made some small changes. I wore sunglasses. Too big. I slicked my hair back. Too slick. I strutted. Ouch, he hit a rock. I swaggered and, oop, he slipped on a banana peel. I was still picked last for everything. My clothes never seemed to fit. I snorted when I left. I walked into stuff. I was an uncool bean for sure. I started myself as just a common bean with no special skills. I couldn't compete, so I didn't even try. I'd never be a cool bean. He got hit on the head with the basketball. Poor guy, huh? It seemed like there were two types of beans in the world. There were the cool beans and the beans like me. Here he is, Leguma Beach. 200 sunscreen, wow. The days all blended together. I lived my life and things were just okay. I took tests and ate lunches and mostly kept to myself. The cool beans continued being cool. I mean, I sure miss them a bit. But it's not like I was going to say anything. I felt like all that coolness had gotten in the way of our friendship. And that's how it went. Until one day, I was in the cafeteria. I dropped my loafers. Oh no, not again. But then something sort of miraculous happened. Out of nowhere, one of the cool beans helped me clean it up. He didn't even say anything. He just gave me a nod, and that was it. Later, I was out on the playground. I tripped my knee, and then maybe cried a little bit, and everybody saw it. After one of the cool beans came to my side, and without a word, he dusted me off. And look at, he's putting a bandage on his knee. This is Mrs. Bean's English class, or Mr. English class. That afternoon I was sitting in class. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't notice, but our teacher had called on me. Everybody stared. I sat there in silence and nobody said anything. And then everybody just laughed at me. That was it. After today, I was officially a has-been. But then one cool bean stood up and came. Everybody watched. She leaned in close and whispered, "Hey, the teacher asked you to read from page 32. Then she gave me a quick wink and went back to her seat. It was a small gesture, sure, but it was everything. They're reading The Great Gatsby. I walked home with a goofy smile on my face. I smiled all through dinner. That day made all the difference. It was a day that could have been really bad if not for the kindness of a few cool beans. It gave me a shred of confidence. That shred of confidence has continued. Some had my back, or a few somebodies. After that, I started hanging out with the cool beans again. How have you been? Get it? How have you been? Not all the time, but sometimes. Lunch, after school, eat on weekends. Throughout all of this, I realized that it's not about how you look or any of that other silly stuff. It's about a wink, nod, or a smile, just the right moment. It's about dusting somebody off, helping them up again, and pointing them in the right direction. Wow. You need a hand? Yes, please. He had fallen and dropped his books. Now, cool. That's the end. We see the beans walking in the hall, the cool beans, and here comes our cool bean with his big sunglasses on. Let's back up just a minute here. I think maybe important here, I want to emphasize this a little bit. It says, throughout all this, I realize that it's not about how you look or any of that other silly stuff. It's about a wink or a smile or a nod at just the right moment. It's about dusting somebody off, helping them up again, and pointing them in the right direction. You need a hand? Yes, please. Now that's... So being cool is all about maybe being nice, doing the right thing, helping people out at a time when they need it. Here he is helping out this poor little bean that fell in the way. But remember back earlier in the story how what did he do? He fell and somebody helped him, right? How far back do we have to go? Not very. Okay, and here he says it was a small gesture, but it was so everything. Sometimes just a smile, a nod, helping somebody out, picking up a giving them a wink means a lot and helps build up confidence. Good job. There we are, the cool bean, our story for today.